G'day, guys. Welcome to the first episode of Glassby Gaming Radio Podcast. We're here with Unix. How are you?
How's it going, man?
Good. So you just finished your race with the or however you say it, velocity
Yep.
endurance.
Yep.
Yeah. So how'd you go on that? Seen you won. That's a bit of a marathon.
Man, it was, dude. It was 2 hours of just it reached the climax at one point and then it just went downhill from there. And
Yeah.
then right at the last lap it just went straight back up, dude. I had to go against a couple of good guys. I had one league racer who does league races with me. His name's Venoms. He had a tire issue at the last part. Like at the last lap. I was the luckiest man in that race.
Yeah.
I would have that.
Yeah.
It was great.
So do you do much endurance racing? Like,
Yeah, actually, like ever since I did the transition from drifting to racing, I want to go back into drifting. But racing's just it's just so fun. Like you start learning after a while to get faster, and you get faster and faster, and you go against faster people, and you would think that you're good at one point until you meet that guy who's incredibly insane, and then you're like, yeah, I want to be like him. I want to be fast, you know. So you start joining more leagues, you start joining more races, you start doing longer races, and it just becomes a domino effect from there, man. It just keeps going, you know.
yeah.
So it was fun. It's fun.
Yeah. So you're from UK, are you?
I'm from the U.S.
Yes, nice. So
USA.
we did a bit of Instagram stalking, and we seen you a bit of a 240SX project going.
Oh God, dude, that project, man. I enjoy that car a bit, you know, but it's for me for what I'm trying to like do with that car. It's just expensive.
Yeah.
I gotta save up some money before I get the parts going. I gotta get pretty much the whole car prepped, pretty much for what I want, because since I have two of them, I want one that's for drifting, and then the other one's just gonna be a daily driver, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I want that to be my dream daily driver, to where I don't want to sell it. I never want to sell it. I want to keep it, you know,
Yeah.
until I move out of the house and all that stuff. So
So is it your drift car? Is that the one you did put the touge in?
yes,
Yeah.
that will be the one with the two J's in it.
Yeah. So what
That
sort of power are you hoping to get out of it?
at at least I honestly want to do like 500, you know, just to practice, just not even to practice, because I have one of my buddies has a stock SR20 that I'm just gonna be practicing in that, and then I'll move on from there and then get into the more powerful car. And as that goes, I want that to be the car that I pretty much keep competing in, keep growing stronger in, and car honestly, it's gonna be with me the whole time.
Yeah. So what's it like over in the US? I know you've got a few big
Hot
leagues, but what's it like for small drift comps? Do they have a lot of sort of, I guess, amateur drift comps over there?
in Florida, it's not too bad. There's a good amount of them, you know, but I just never find them. It like you got to go deep into the web
Yeah.
searches to find them, you know, for me at least. And there's a good amount of grassroots comps over here. Like, there's a pretty good amount, and FD does a couple of competitions in the Orlando track,
Yeah.
Orlando Speedway, but not too many.
Yeah.
Not too many. I think they focus more on
Yeah,
Irwindale
right.
over there.
Yeah.
So
So when did you first start gaming? Like when did you? Because you've sort of made quite a name for yourself on Instagram and stuff. Now you've you know.
yeah, man, I don't even know. I was just I was
Yeah.
chilling, dude. You know,
So you
like
always was it? Did you start
gaming.
as a kid, or was it like for me? I didn't really start till I was a fair bit older. You know.
I started online gaming as I was around 13. I think the first online game I ever got was Battlefield 4, and that game kicked it off for me pretty much. I was always offline. I never really understood gold at all whatsoever. I
Yeah,
never
yeah,
paid for it. So when I got the new box and they gave me the free gold on it, I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty sick. And I just got
yeah,
addicted
yeah,
into it.
yeah.
Just kept going.
So when did you sort of start your drifting? Was that back in Forza Horizon 3 or was that before that?
That was a late Horizon 3 I started
Yeah,
drifting, honestly. Because early drifting, I knew about it, I wanted to get into it, but it's just, it's like a community where you go in and like they kick you
yeah,
right out. So you can't really stay
yeah,
there for
yeah.
too long. So that's what I thought about it
Mm,
being. So I always, at the start of FH3, I used to do a ton of role playing. Everyone did cops and
yeah,
robbers, let's be
yeah.
honest here. And just Goliath races and all that stuff like that. Just the usual Forza things. And then after I went to see my first FD event in FD Orlando, which was, I think, 3 years ago. It was like later Forza. So I went to see that event, came out of it, and I'm like, dude, I want to do this in virtual. I want to do good, So I just kept going. 5 hours a day, get on my little Mazda RX-7 FC and just practice the same track over and over. Figure eight parking lot over and over and over until I started competing in competitions. It got bigger and bigger, and then I joined the team. Everyone knows the team,
Yeah, yeah.
DDS. You know,
Yeah, because it was sort of I found Forza Horizon 3, it was really, I don't know, I find like Forza Horizon 4 now, it's a bit harder to find randoms. Like, 3, you just went straight to the car park
yes,
and everyone was there, so it was a lot easier to practice against a lot of people and um
yes. I think it was because just Horizon 3. Like when you said drifting, you're like car
yeah,
park,
yeah,
right? So you,
yeah.
you'd go to car park, right? So everyone would meet up there, and everyone would drift there, and it would be pretty easy
Mm,
to find other people. But in Horizon 4, since the map is like more scattered out, you won't really find anyone except for cargo or
yeah,
crates or any
yeah.
sort of place like that. You won't, but anywhere else you won't. You won't find people. It's sad, but that's just how the
Yeah.
game
So
moved on.
I didn't really sort
You
of
know,
because I started sort of same about in the Forza Horizon 3. I didn't really realize how big
yeah,
the community was. Like, um, only recently I found, there's a lot of drift teams and a lot of drift comps and so you went to
yes, for sure.
drifting to find DDS. Was that back in Forza Horizon 3 you started with them?
That was in Forza Horizon 3. That was after the whole incident with them like died down. It was
Yeah,
like a little bit, it was kind of like I didn't know them. I didn't know any
yeah,
Forza
yeah.
team. Let's be honest here. I was like brand new to it. The only dude, the thing that caught me from that like to that team was because they
Mm.
had team paints, and I'm like, yo, I want to rock one of those, dude. I want to be able to try to win. You know, and that team, and I loved it. I loved every single second being in that team. The leader was great. The drivers were great. They would always help you out. It was good. It was good until you know more stuff came along. And
Yeah, yeah.
everyone moved on.
Oh, I think that
You know,
happens with every team, but I mean they're quite a well-known team, and
yeah,
um, not just
yeah,
I
for
guess with
sure,
the
man.
drifting, but
I
they
don't even know.
expanded as well, didn't they? In, into
Yep, they're now in a
yeah, yeah.
setup, I
So
believe.
you did you become sort of a leader, didn't you? So I'm going to try to. Is this right? With is it touge? Is that how you say it? Racing? Touge,
Yeah,
yeah,
Toge. Yeah, so before that actually happened, I used to be a leader of team. It was DDS's
yeah,
prospects. If any DSP member hears this, they'll understand. Yeah. So there was the prospect team, and then you could actually try out to go
yeah,
to the main team.
yeah,
That's how we used to have it. It used to be like for 2 months. We had it as a test. Then Bunny asked me to be the leader of the DDSP team, and I was hyped. I'm like, yes, I get to drift with the people that
yeah,
I
yeah,
used to be. like a couple months back. It was a
Mm,
fun time. It was a fun time. And after a while, the DDSP team didn't really like. It wasn't the best gamble that we had. It wasn't. It didn't grow to
yeah,
what we wanted it to be. So we just shut it down completely, and we just stuck with one team. So how I went from leader mode to DDSP, I transitioned to co-leader mode from the actual team, and that's how I assumed the role of co-leader, and it was fun. It's
yeah,
awesome
yeah.
experience, man.
So,
It was great.
can you explain for some, like, I'm not that familiar. What is touge racing like? Sort of a grip racing, isn't
Touge racing. I'm gonna get
it?
roasted if I say this wrong, but it's pretty much Japanese mountain racing. Pretty much, you got cat and mouse fights. Pretty much, your main objective is for the guy in the back to pass the guy in the front, and that's how the guy in the back wins. And the main objective for the guy in the front is to keep the guy in the back
Yeah, yeah,
from not passing.
yeah.
That's how it goes. I hope I don't get roasted for this. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but
no, because it's sort
no.
of a, yeah, because they don't necessarily is that right? They sort of semi drift it almost in some corners.
Yeah, it it kind of depends because there's toge where they call it toge, but they're actually drifting up a mountain.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
that toge to where like you're tandeming with another person.
Hmm.
That's the fun toge. The serious toge, I think, in my opinion,
Yeah,
is like the
yeah,
grip racing. Like they're gripped out down the mountain as fast as you can without drifting.
yeah,
They don't like drifting, pretty much. And yeah, man, I dipped into that community for
yeah.
like a year. I was in the toge community for a year. Yeah,
Is there many
and it
competitions
was
for that sort of stuff? Like, or is it more of a was that more of a like a DDS thing?
the only one I know. Yeah, the only one I know is was called Forza Stage. We used to have a DDS team for Toge for Forza Stage, but since we joined a little bit late, like we joined a little bit later than everyone else, so everyone was already established. Everyone knew already all the tuning tricks and everything, all the cars that they have to pick, all the track layouts that they
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
know. They already knew that. We came in fresh and we're like, yo, what is this?
yeah, yeah,
What are we doing here? We were so confused for like the first 2 weeks, and then that's when we started kicking off a little bit, doing a couple of
yeah,
races. We didn't win, we weren't good, but we got the experience out of it, which was the best thing ever.
yeah,
It,
yeah.
it was
No, I
so
guess
fun.
that's the thing. It's the good thing about having online comps is you can sit there and practice like I said before, like offline. You can practice for ages, and then
Yes.
you're tandem with someone. You're like, well, hang on, my car's a bit slow, or my
Oh,
car's
this
off
is cool,
angle,
man.
or there's always someone better.
Yeah. There's always, dude, and when you find someone that's better than
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
don't even be mad. Like you always got to learn from that person who's better than you so you can be on par with them the next time you see them, because there used to be a ton of people like that for FH3. The biggest, I'm not going to say the biggest one, but the one I knew a lot was his name was Blackie Chan on FH3. Man, that guy was awesome, dude. I used to always drift with him. He was so chill, so cool. I never was
yeah,
fast enough to keep up with him, and that's why the one of the basic things I had to learn was tuning, and that's where I kind of know the tuning phase for drifting,
yeah,
but not too
yeah.
much overall.
It's
You
sort of
know?
it's a big learning curve, I guess. Yeah, as a kid, you like drift cars, etc., and and then you sort of, I
Yeah,
guess, when like the Forza started, with all the tuning and like Forza Horizon 4, you can, there's a lot you can do in there now where it's sort of, can affect the
yeah,
handling a lot more. So it gives, a more realistic feel, I guess, in a sense, like, um,
yes,
so like a lot of the teams, like, I guess DDS, you have your tuners and your painters, and, it's really cool, it's almost as close as you can get to the real thing, I guess.
yeah. The coolest thing you see though is like, let's say, like the transition between Horizon 3 and Horizon 4. They added drift suspension, and FM7 players, they figured this out pretty quick. But what I loved about the transition between just like stock suspension. People used to run race suspension or rally
Yeah,
suspension. Because that was
yeah.
the meta back then. So now transitioning to drift suspension, I loved how every single team was on their A game, just like trying to figure out, what's the best thing that they could do for the suspension, what's the fastest thing that we can do, what's the thing that we could make
Mm,
it look sick, like everyone was just on it, on top of it, and after like a week, it felt like everyone was just back on
yeah, yeah,
FH3,
yeah, yeah,
it felt
yeah.
like home.
And I guess a lot of comps now too,
Yep.
they change it up a bit with all your specs, so you can dial in a certain car and then,
Yes.
different track, I guess the same as a real thing, different track, different specs, and you sort of gotta make another car almost.
Yeah, it's like the FH4 comps back at the start weren't really huge. They were like Ramber looking for group lobbies pretty much. That's what they were. 550 horsepower stock tires, 295s max on crates. That's what it was. I think to me what the thing that kicked off the drifting competitions was a drifting competition known as Envious Drifting, but now they're called Grassroots Competition Series. They were the ones that
Yeah,
introduced the money system, the money aspect. Oh, I can actually get paid for this. So by them doing that, in turn, it pretty much caused a ton of people to start
mm,
creating competitions. You had, I believe, H1GP was before or after, but H1GP was such a fun competition, man. Such unique specs, man, that I enjoyed every single second of being in that competition. Even if like we butted heads with the
mm.
judges or anything, I enjoyed it a lot, pretty much. And so when GCS introduced the money system, you had other comps coming in as well, trying to make it big, pretty much. But they're still going. GCS is still going. They're still thriving. They're still doing their thing.
Mm.
I support them all the way. And you got comps coming in like D1 battles
Yeah,
hosted
yeah,
by Luke. That's a good one. You got FDL coming in as well. You got a ton of good comps coming in, and I think all the Forza Horizon players or the Forza Horizon drifters should appreciate it. Like what GCS has kind of done to solidify
yeah, yeah,
everything of what's coming up. And you got as well coming up as well soon for FH4 comps. It's
yeah,
insane.
yeah.
It's crazy.
There's
It's
it's a
absolutely crazy.
massive range now, isn't it? And it's not just. I guess it's not just the one
Yeah.
game anymore either. You got Forza Motorsport 7 now, where there's a few. I know there's always a
Yes,
fight
for
between
sure.
Forza Horizon 4 is not real drifting, and but so much of a range. It's not you didn't have
Dude.
to do just the one comp. You can do like 4 or 5 comps at once if they don't clash.
Hey, man. Yeah, what I tell 'em, man, is if you're enjoying
Yeah,
one
yeah,
game over the other, you enjoy it. I'm not gonna change your opinion. I'm not gonna say anything
yeah.
bad about it. You enjoy it. Like I love. They both have different
Mm,
physics, and that's what's good about them. Because FM7 you could throw like freaking like 180 degrees and nothing's gonna happen because you could
yeah,
just clutch kick your way out of there. On FH4 you gotta watch out with that angle because I don't know if Forza like
yeah,
screwed up with the angle system, but it
yeah,
feels
yeah,
like race suspension still. But you still both games are different in terms of what can you do with your car? Like how does it feel when you do this to your car? Like tuning's a lot different in both games. So whenever someone tells me, "Oh, Horizon sucks," although FM7 sucks, Horizon's a lot better. Oh no, FM's, you know, I just tell them, just stick to the game that you enjoy playing, and just don't complain. Enjoy, appreciate that there's two different games that you can try out, and you can drift on both of them. And if you like the one over the other, that's
yeah,
fine. It's your opinion. I'm not
yeah,
gonna change it. I'm not
yeah,
gonna argue with you. You know.
yeah,
So
yeah. Oh,
that's
that's
all I
fair
tell them.
enough.
You know.
So, what's your Are you a controller man or a wheel man?
Oh,
Bit of
that
both.
is mixed. I run, yeah, a bit of both. So I race on listed off. I race a controller for FM7. I drift on FH4 with controller and wheel. I drift on FM7 with wheel. I race on project cars
Yeah,
with wheel, and on NASCAR with wheel. So it kind of having the two of them mix in, you kind of have to balance both of them out. I would say so. Like you gotta have to balance them out between games. But it's personal preference for me, in my opinion. But I love them both.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
controller when we started, wheels still a whole new thing for me. So
yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah, yeah. So what's your go-to drift car for Forza Horizon 4 and
Ooh,
7?
are we talking about competition level, or are we talking about like just
Yeah,
chilling with your friends?
bit of both, you could say, like what's your favorite?
Ooh, well, everyone knows the main cars out there are the
Mm,
S15 and the RX-7. Those are pretty much the two
yeah,
popular ones on FH4 at least. On FM7, you got again it's more variety on FM7,
yeah,
I would say, but on FH4, I like how they're introducing some comps where they're starting to like maybe ban
yeah,
some of those
yeah.
cars, and you see more variety in the terms of car
Mm,
choice, you know. So, but for my go-to pick, that's tough. I think maybe just to have fun, an S13. Everyone knows, it's fun,
yeah,
reliable, it
yeah.
always works, it never fails on you. If they're hard to
Mm,
make fast, but when you do, they feel great. So I'm gonna go with an S13, man.
yeah. It's like you just were saying then, like with how they're sort of banning some of the cars.
Yeah,
It's pretty some of the cars now, I guess, like we're saying, there's so many competitions now, and
yeah,
um, like some of the cars that are being entered in, say, drift competitions, they're not your average sort of car, that people would pick, which is, I reckon, pretty cool to
yeah.
see, like, you know, obviously, different tunes
It's
for
fun
them,
to
and
see the variety. Yeah,
mm,
it's fun to see like how they challenge themselves to their car. It's
yeah.
fun.
Um, so when did you get into endurance racing? Was that sort of a recent thing, or you've been doing that for a while, like you said?
Let's see. So endurance racing. I think this happened after Touge. You know.
Yeah,
Um, so we had the Touge team, right? And I wasn't doing too good. I wasn't doing too. I'll admit it. It wasn't doing too hot. We're at a pretty bad losing streak. So what we did was I knew one of my friends named Money Mike. He does still a ton of league races. And I told him, hey, can you try to get me into that?
yeah,
Like I want to do a couple races. Um, so he got me into that, and I'm like, hey, yo, this has got to be, we got to make a team for this instead of Toge. So the transition went pretty smoothly. Bunny let me allow it. It was great. We had paints the next year after, and it went great. We did our first season known as the league called Art of Endurance, which was a WEC league, and we did that, and it went pretty well, honestly. And from this day now, we're still doing it, and it's still going great.
yeah. Is there many well, it seems to be like a growing thing recently. I know that I've noticed it. Is there many big leagues out there for endurance racing? Is that sort of like a new thing to come
Think
about?
I think there were like you don't you don't kind of like know how many leagues are there until you actually start looking for it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
when you actually like in the community, you start seeing a ton of leagues because I'm in around 5 to 6 leagues right now
Hmm.
for racing only,
Yeah,
not drifting, and it's it's great. The variety is great. I think one of the biggest leagues or one of the bigger leagues would be Tora Endurance. They do real life 24-hour races on FM7. It's crazy, and those guys are dumb quick. So I think, yeah, for leagues, I definitely think, yeah, there's a ton of them. I think there's, in my opinion, a lot more than drifting.
yeah,
A
yeah,
lot more leagues.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was sort of I was watching a bit of your stream before on the velocity endurance race, and it's sort of like a bit of a. It's not just racing, is it? There's a bit of method in it, with your tires and how quick you're gonna go at the start, etc. To try to save your tires.
Yeah, it's it's more of a strategy. I would call it a strategy based game, just because you got to make sure you got to be looking at everything, man. You can't just be looking at your times. Your times are pretty important, but when your tires go out, you're done for. Your car is not going to move.
Yeah, yeah.
And with fuel as well, you got to worry about that too, because like if you're going to do endurance races, it's a long race,
Mm,
and you sitting there, and also as well, like you sitting there for 2 hours just doing the same thing over and over. If you don't have a battle going, it gets tiring. You start doing a ton of mistakes that you usually don't do, you know? And but when you're actually battling someone for a position,
yeah,
it is the greatest thing that you can feel. It's amazing
yeah, yeah.
because you get the adrenaline pumping, and you know that any mistake can lead you a couple seconds behind, or any mistake that he does can lead you a couple seconds over him. So it's just adrenaline pumping every single time, man. You gotta make sure you be ready. You gotta go to use the bathroom before the race. You know what I'm saying? You gotta do all that stuff
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
So it's not just the racing aspect. It's more of just you gotta think the strategy aspect as well. You got the racing and the strategy aspect.
I guess that's the
You know.
beauty of the new games now, and it's so realistic
Yes.
to the real thing, like, oh yeah, in Motorsport 7, you got all these, damage and tire wear and all your pits now, it's really cool.
Yeah, and you got like games like iRacing where they like actually let you do driver swaps and stuff. You
Yeah,
know, like real life physics, pretty much. Like it feels. That's what I want to get into. Once I start getting a PC and all that stuff. That's what I really want to do. But for now, I'm just chilling in FM7. Having fun.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
So we were watching you a while back, and we were watched you on the FTC comp on Forza
uh,
Motorsport 7, and tell
yes.
us about that, because you
Dude,
qualified pretty badly or
oh,
something, wasn't it?
oh man, that was like the weirdest 2 days I've ever had, dude, on FM7. That was the turning point for me. That was so frustrating when practice for because I wasn't good on FM7.
Mm,
That was like my first big comp being on FM7. So I had to practice, when you practice hour for hour just to go to qualifying and get 2 zeros. That was the worst feeling I've ever had, dude.
yeah, yeah,
Like I felt like crap. Okay. And then after I told the Discord, Bunny was telling me, hey man, you got the next day. You got this, right? And Rotary came up to me and he's like, you know what, man? I'm gonna help you out with your tune. So he helped me out with my tune. I stood up. The qualifiers ended at 12 a.m. and I stood up till 3 a.m. just trying out the new tune,
yeah,
testing it, making sure everything was good for the next day. The next day, woke up, I was still feeling a bit crap, but I knew that I already qualified, 64, top 64. It was gonna be a fun competition. I met so many people, man. It was great meeting all those guys in practice lobbies, like, especially, you got Royal Keith, you I forget their names, Nate, and all those guys, man. Blue, Black Widow, there's just so many people that I met in that party. It felt like me being back in Horizon 3 and meeting the squad, like meeting a small group of guys that are, willing to help. So I got a couple of runs with them. I was feeling confident. I felt good. The car felt good. My wheel felt good. Everything was great. And actually, before I say anything else, thank you, T Dub, for hosting that event because that was freaking great.
yeah.
That was awesome.
It's a very well run
So
event, yeah.
yeah, it was really good, man. But I think the turning point was my first battle. Uh, Some people say, I got pretty lucky, and I'll agree with you. I got pretty lucky, because I had to go against this guy called Otto Raker. I think that was his name. So we were both drifting. He had a couple problems with his handbrake. I didn't do the best lead and follow. So if he didn't have those problems, he would have easily got me.
Yeah.
You know. But after that, it just kept going up. I before the whole competition, I told Carnage, imagine if we get the top 16 together in battle. And
Yeah,
that's exactly me and him battled it hard. It was fun. It was enjoyable. There was not a single moment in that competition where I felt like, hey, this was not worth it. It was worth it because I learned so much from that competition until I got all the way. I didn't even really realize I was all the way at the end. Second place, against XC Jimothy, which he's a stupid fast dude. He's such a good drifter, man.
yeah,
And it felt so good to get two OMTs with him and just having fun, learning how to drive. I was pretty much the whole comp. I was still learning how to drift on a wheel, so it was still brand new to me.
yeah, yeah,
And it was the best. It was the best feeling, man. It was.
yeah.
And then
I think
when
FDC
T Dub
it's
told
sort
me,
of
hey,
like a FDC sort of a good step up comp, I think, as well.
yeah,
Like
it
it's
really
there.
was.
It gets you to know, and they do the stream and commentating, and it's sort of a you know step up
It,
for
it,
people to really
it
know
felt,
who you are, and a
yeah,
lot
it
of
felt
a lot
good.
of good drivers into that competition.
Yes, a lot of people showed up, and it was so good.
Yeah, yeah,
Super. I recommend that comp for anyone who's trying to do it next season. If they're gonna be on if FMA comes out, before or after, I recommend
mhm,
that comp for next season, dude. I'm still in it, and I missed the first round because I had to do some of my racing leagues and stuff, and I wasn't gonna be there, so
yeah,
that sucked. But
yeah, yeah,
hoping I can get the second round.
yeah. Nice. So you had your good sting with DDS and stuff, and
Yeah,
obviously learnt a lot with them, and then you've
yeah.
sort of gone your own way. Um, and you've started a thing called Motorsport Hub. What's that about?
It 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 was a dream. Like I wouldn't say it was a dream. It was something I was trying to chase for a while now. Like because I was thinking it's hard to get to get information about these competitions. You
Yeah,
never find them. So like if you're a brand new person who's trying to look for all this stuff, and you don't know anyone really big into the competitions, you won't really find anything. So I'm
yeah,
like, yo, what if I built a Discord server where league owners and business owners and everyone can go in to the same Discord, promote for free. I'm not gonna ask anything. I
yeah.
just want everyone to be happy pretty much. I want everyone to enjoy it. And that's what I did. So I had grassroots competition series I had him along with a couple of other moderators, and they helped me build the whole entire thing. I would not have made it without them. Like I
Yeah.
thank God for them. And GCS was pretty much pushing me to do it, and I'm like, you know what, man, I'm gonna do it. So I built the whole thing, along with them. We made the Discord server in around 2 days. We
Hmm.
we had people around the clock. The moderators, we had them all around the clock, adding bots, making sure every server was good, making sure every single role was good before we released it to the public. And when we released it, we got so much support. It was crazy. I didn't even know we were going to get that much support, you know?
It's only been up couple of weeks or something, hasn't it? It hasn't been very long, and
Yeah,
it's taken right off.
it's crazy, man. And I'm hoping it gets bigger along the way. I want more league owners and stuff to go in and, sponsor every single comp that they have. Business owners can come in. You got Glassby Gaming. You got Full Carbon Media from Assume Guitar. He's in there, having
Yeah.
fun. Everyone's having fun in there, and I'm enjoying. I'm enjoying leading the whole thing with my moderators. It's great.
Mm.
It's great.
I guess that's a thing like I sort of found like a little while back with a lot of competitions. Like it was sort of your own thing. Like you go in a
Yeah,
Discord server, it was only them, and if you mention another, it's not all, but some people, if you mention another competition for practice, they'd get, weren't happy about you. Like it was a bit of a segregated thing. It wasn't. I guess that's the beauty of the Motorsport Hub is, like it's just because you have, I guess, servers for practice as well. Like,
yeah,
do
yeah. We try to add everything that the people want. Like I'm trying to. This is not for me.
you?
This is for them. So whatever they want, if they get the majority vote, I'm down to do it. If it's fine, if it agrees with the moderators, I'm always down to add new things. Like I added the drag racing scene is
Yeah,
coming up soon as well. I'm gonna add those competitions as well in there. Maybe even rally is gonna come in as well. I don't know yet. We haven't
yeah,
gotten much support from them, but
yeah,
racing and drifting were the two main ones we had to get out the way. So we had to you know, GCS helped me with contacting a lot of the major drifting scenes. Like you
yeah,
got TSC, you got ESDA, you got them, GCS. I got Luke into it as well, and I got D1 battles and FDL, and I
yeah.
was doing the racing leagues as well, like that. So it was
Mm,
just, it's a way to grow your competition and also give the people what they want, which is competition. Everyone's in there for adrenaline. They want it. Yeah. So that's the main reason for Motorsports Hub then.
yeah. So, if someone wants to find that, what's the best way to jump on the Discord server?
Yes. And honestly, it's the Discord server is in the link. You got to search up motorsport underscore hub underscore on Instagram, and the link should be right at the bio, pretty much.
Yeah,
Just click on it, man. If you have any questions, you can always tag me in there. You can always tag any of the moderators. We're all chill. It don't mean anything. If you have a league or if you own a business, let us know. Maybe fill out a form if you want as well, and we can take care of you. You know?
yeah, yeah. Nice. So, you're part of D1 battles with Luke, aren't you? Sort of helping out with that. What's the go with that? That's sort of
Yes.
become a pretty well-known thing in Forza Horizon 4 now.
Yes. I love it. I love, when he asked me to be a judge, I'm like, from a driver to be a judge is kind of, I kind of know my, like clipping points, outer zones, and all that stuff,
Yeah,
but judges seem to get a ton of hate, and that's why I kind of didn't want to be a judge.
yeah,
But you know what? Screw it. I said, you know what? Screw it. Luke needs me to be a judge. I'm gonna be a judge. I'm gonna help out as much as I can because
yeah,
that's what I'm there for. I'm there to help out. So I became a judge for the first two rounds, and I was also streaming, which the stream thing I still have to fix because Mixer doesn't like me, and Twitch also hates Xbox. So it's
yeah,
kind of hard for my position where I'm at, and you know, being there as a judge is actually pretty entertaining. I know they can't hear me in the Discord whenever I'm there commenting at another chat, but I start screaming whenever there's a good battle or like whenever someone does a mistake, you know, like when last round when let's say when a ton of people were going up the hill, drifting, they were pretty much transitioning, but they were going up the hill, so they were dropping like four tires through there, and I'm like, no, I was screaming because it's just a thing you don't expect.
yeah,
Anything can happen in
yeah,
a competition,
yeah,
and that's what's fun about the judging aspect. Anything can happen. But next round, season 4, I'm planning on coming in as a driver for at least one round.
yeah,
I
yeah,
kind of come in for as a driver and then go back to judging and see how it goes.
yeah. Yeah, we
But
even
yeah,
personally had a good look. What the times never line up with when we can watch them. But
yeah,
from what we've seen, it's like there's some really good drivers up and coming, isn't there? Like it's really
yes,
the
a lot
last
of up and
battles are
coming.
just really, really, really close.
Yeah, especially when you got an IRL drifter known as Rotary or Luke. He knows his stuff.
Hmm.
He does this in real life. So having him as a judge and having him giving you feedback from the run,
Hmm.
is is the best thing you can have. And teams should also, if you're looking for drivers, go in, check everyone out that's in there. Because there's a ton of guys in there that are not in teams, and they deserve to be in a team.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, and there's some up and coming teams in there too. And the Forza Horizon community better watch out. They're coming in hot.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
coming in quick.
yeah. Yeah, there seems to I remember sort of a while back there was like a big burst of teams, but Like
Yes.
it's a lot more work, I think, than people realize. Like it's a big commitment, isn't it? Yeah. There's people
Yeah.
on every day, every night, like comps all the time. So really time consuming, isn't it? Like,
Yeah. It's like that's why you kind of see it's sad to see a lot of teams come and go, like they come in for like a week. They're like the
yeah.
next big thing and then they leave the next second. And it's
Mm,
like, man, leading a team, I learned this a lot for like because I learned a good amount from DDS and where I was at in my position. It's pretty rough. It's tough. You got to deal with a ton of people. You got to deal with your drivers. You got to find comps. You got to pretty much if you're in sponsorships, you got to deal with them as well. You got to make them happy. You got to
yeah.
make yourself happy at the same time. You got other teams calling you out for no reason. Starting
Yeah.
perhaps drama. It's it's a big cycle. And it's a lot to deal with, and that's why I kind of stepped away from being a co-leader
Mm,
for a major team. Because I was it's a lot of hate. You know, for no
yeah. Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
Reason.
That's I guess it's really sad to see like gaming communities are there's so much hate. Like I've seen some
Yeah,
comps that just fall to bits because there's just everyone. Like you said, people hating the judges, and then they're just getting on each other's counts and
yeah.
calling each
There's
other out, and it can be a pretty vicious
yeah.
cycle. It's really sad to see.
It's like you got hate and then you have constructive criticism. I enjoy constructive criticism, when you tell
Hmm.
me, "Hey, you're bad at this," but you also tell me how to fix it.
Yeah.
That's what I enjoy the most. But if you just outright say, "Oh yeah, you're dumb," what is that gonna do? That's not gonna fix anything. You're just making me even more mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I don't hate about the community as of where it's at right now.
Hmm. And I guess there's two sorts of people as well. There's some that are just, they're just there for having fun that are not really don't, if they win
Yeah,
or lose, I don't really care. And then there's certain people, that are really, I guess, trying to make a career, if you want to call it, out of it, like
yes.
really trying to get good and move up different comps, and
Trying to get their name out there. That's
mm,
the
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And I don't blame them. I did that at the start of FH3, trying to get my name out there, trying to win as many comps as possible. And after a while, for me, being like that for a while, it gets tiring. That's the
yeah,
one of it's kind of one of the main reasons why I'm doing racing for now, at least, is because after a while you start realizing that just it's not all about winning, man. It's about
mm,
having fun, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you
And I
just
guess
start,
too, there's millions and millions of people out there gaming. It's a lot of people, with streamers, of Fortnite and all that sort of stuff.
yep,
Like you want to be the next big streamer, or but
yeah, the
there's
next big thing.
there's millions of people, so
Yeah,
it's a really hard thing to I guess that's with drifting and racing. It's not as big as all that sort of stuff, but it's certainly getting a lot more known. It's great to see.
yeah. It's like plus the drifting community on FH4. It's kind of I wouldn't say it's too small, but you
Mm,
kind of know some names like from the top of your head. If you say FH4 drifting community, you're gonna know some names, you know. And that's what I think they strive for was when you say FH4 drifting, you
yeah.
know them immediately. Like how I said FH3, I knew a guy called Black Chan. You know,
Mm,
it it that's their main objective, and I don't blame them. It's kind of sick,
mm,
but at the same
yeah.
time, you start to learn you get kind of toxic along the way, and
Mm,
that's what I really wanted to avoid was being toxic, you know.
yeah. Mm.
So
And I guess it's really like from our point of view, we do an affiliation program for some people, gamers
yeah,
that get the discount card and they earn money off selling stuff, and it's really cool. Like pro gaming's another one, they do a similar sort of thing, and to help people actually sort of they're earning money off it. There's Fruit Lab now, which is another cool thing if you're into making videos where you're earning money. Like it's a
yeah,
lot more opportunities now. It's great to see with people. Kids can actually, well, as well as adults can start making money off it. It's not, don't need to get millions of views on a stream or
Yeah,
Facebook, YouTube or something. Like
yeah,
it's great to see. And then once you start, there's a lot of people jumping on sponsorships for comps now, and like it's
and
like
it's a
you were
good
saying,
thing.
it's like
Yeah,
it's a lot of comps now. You're drifting to win actual prizes. It's not just
yeah,
we'll give you some in-game money or
yeah,
something. You actually, I think
yeah,
DDS they were doing some jumpers and stuff, weren't they? Like
yeah.
it's really cool now. Yeah.
It's it's I love these companies who do like the sponsorship code and stuff because they give the person an actual shot of being big.
Mm.
You want to be big. You want to be the one that they use the code most for. And even if you're making it for money, you're just having fun. It's still great to see communities like that. Fruit Lab's doing such a great job.
So what would you recommend, like, as an upcoming driver or drifter, or there's a lot of different leagues? Do you think going into a big team or a little team's a good thing, or how would you? I guess for someone trying to head into like making a bit of a career out of it, taking it seriously. Like, obviously, you've been in a few big teams, and um, like, what do you recommend? You reckon?
I I think if you want to get experience, join a big team that has good drivers that are well known. You know, try to strive to join that team, and you pretty much start learning stuff from those good drivers, and you get better overall. Honestly, that's what happened with me. I joined DDS from being a newcomer, to joining a big team,
Mm,
and you start learning all these different tuning tips and driving tips and car selections from the guys who've been there for a while. But if you're a new person or an experience, if you're, let's say you're an experienced person already, man, I would suggest to start making it, just make a new team, make a
yeah,
new team with a couple guys that you already know, and have a tight knit like relationship with each other, you
mm,
know. And if you start off with them, then it's going to start building up and building up. You're going to start getting well known because if you're an experienced drifter, you're going to be pretty good. And pretty much everyone's going to start remembering your team name or your team, you, and your other drivers. And it's going to be more fun, more enjoyable for you to start a team that you built up with these other people that you know very closely.
yeah,
And yeah, it's gonna pretty much be like that.
yeah. It's
So
part of it too.
experience,
Like we are
yeah,
saying before, with like you can sit there and practice by yourself, but it's not until you got other people that have got faster tunes. I guess part of it's just being around people and to practice with. Like, yeah, I guess you don't have to necessarily strive to become a big team, but just I guess a tight team, like you're saying. It's just other drivers that well, and um, yeah, like I guess I see a lot of teams, they just try to be a really big team straight away. Like that's all
yes,
they want jumpers,
and
they
that's
want
why they
this, and
fall.
yeah, and they first week they want this and that, and we'll get stickers made up and this and um. But I guess yeah, it's just like I say, just practice. Getting a really tight team, and yeah, like I
They
guess
start to skip steps. That's the
yeah,
problem.
yeah,
A lot of steps because they start wanting everything pretty much. They want sponsorships. They want good drivers. They want a ton of good drivers. They want a Discord. They want to participate in every single competition. Want to win every single competition, and that's fine. You can
mm,
think that way, but it's not going to end up working because that's why a ton of Horizon teams fall in the first 2 weeks. It doesn't work like that.
yeah,
You gotta make sure you have a close relationship with everyone of your drivers. You want to put your drivers in front of everything else pretty much. You want to make sure that they are getting better over time, and they're just not sitting there and
Mm,
doing nothing. You know,
yeah. I
that's
guess
what
from
I have seen team.
sponsorship side as well, that as a company, like, your aim is to sell stuff. And you get a lot of, they'll just start an account and I enter the comp and rah rah, and they got 50 followers, and they
Yeah,
concentrating. And for us, like 50 followers. I mean, I got hundreds of people going through my website that don't buy anything. Like, so it's a lot of people just think, oh, I got a couple of followers, and then they'll flat out trying to get all these sponsors to look cool and rah rah, and instead of really concentrating on getting better and I guess making a name in the way of of doing well in comps. And um, I just find there's too many gamers that concentrate on that sort of too much, trying to make money too quick or whatever.
yes. They skip too many. They skip too many stairs, man. They're going way too fast
Mm,
for it to work. And then as soon as you realize that you went too fast, it's already too late.
yeah,
Already going downhill. It's not working anymore.
yeah,
So for any new team out there, slow down, make sure everything's okay, make sure your drivers are okay, make sure you're not going too fast to where everyone's feeling rushed, make sure you're producing quality content over like over every single day or whatever. If you're trying to post as fast as possible so it could keep showing up in everyone's feed, that's not going to work. You got to pour your soul into what you're trying to make so everyone or most people will enjoy it,
yeah, yeah.
like that.
Hmm. So
Quality over quantity.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So change of subject. You've sort of is it joined a photography team a bit for the side? Is that a
Yes.
bit of a side hobby off your normal racing?
Yeah. I love them. I love it, dude. They're such cool guys, dude. Guitar, Assume Guitar or Full Metal Photography started that team.
Yeah,
And as soon as I saw it, after this was, I think, a little bit after I left DDS. Everyone, everyone was still in a shaky position. I was still in a shaky position. I was trying to find out what I was gonna do
yeah,
with everything. And that's all my ideas that I had before. When I was in the team, all my ideas just started pretty much flourishing to where I want to do them all
yeah,
now since I'm more open to do that sort of stuff. So as soon as they started a photography team, I'm like, hey, let me join in. I'm not a good photographer, you
yeah,
know, but I'm gonna join in and I'm gonna have some fun. And I'm just everyone in there in that photography team is so tight knit and close together that you know most jokes pass off as jokes. No one gets offended.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's great. It's a good team. I love them. Skyline Media VM. Ah, dude, love them. Love
yeah.
those guys.
It's pretty amazing, I think, now with I guess how um like games now. Like I remember looking at Forza Motorsport 7. I remember walking into a shop and not actually knowing they're playing a game trailer on the TV. Like they look, everything just looks so real now. And like I guess with like there's a lot of photography clubs now that it's just incredible of what photos they bring out. Like it's just a lot of people go for different styles, which is cool to see. And there's a lot of people that different different like war games, etc. Take photos of that, and then there's a lot of car teams now where it's just like it's incredible. Like just some of the photos that
Yeah,
you honestly question whether it's a game or not. It's
real.
just
Yeah,
yeah,
it's you. And there's also a lot of smaller photographers trying to make it out there, and I think that's one of the bigger communities that's growing fast, like
mm,
real quick, where I can't catch up to anyone who's doing photography. Like,
yeah,
you got a guy called, I think on Instagram, his name's like Rhino BTSD.
yeah,
I think that's what his name. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. He does Forza photography, but he also photoshops like how it
mm,
looks and everything. It looks real,
yeah,
you know. You start questioning whether it's real or not until you go to the comments or you go to the like the pretty much the bio of the feed
Yeah,
and it just, oh, it's from Forza, and I'm like, yo, that's
yeah,
from Forza.
yeah.
They
I
start
think
going
I
into the
actually seen one of
realism
his.
aspect.
Yeah, I think I seen one recently. He did I think it was like might have been a backdrop in Japan or something. And it just yeah, like you said,
It's so
you
nice,
couldn't tell. Like yeah, and
it's so clean.
you have your different I guess photographers where they some of them don't like
Yeah,
editing, just use the natural game. But then there's just some that just like I don't actually mind the edit. Some people hate it, but just it's just so creative what you can do with it. Like
you know, you got your photographers that are, like you said, the raw feeling, the raw experience. And a good one is Desired YT. He's pretty good with the raw photos, you know.
hmm
And then you got your other photographers, which are into the more realism aspect. So they do a little bit of editing here and there. They do a little bit of Lightroom editing,
yeah,
exposure, contrast, sharpness, noise reduction, all that stuff. So that would be, I would put the category like Full Metal Photography, him, you know, I
yeah,
put him in there. And then you got your outright, almost look real,
yeah, yeah,
where Ryan, he would be there because he does the Photoshop stuff and it looks really good.
yeah,
And all of them have their unique characteristics, and I enjoy every single part of it. I love Forza photography. It's amazing
yeah,
what it's been doing now.
yeah. So I guess we'll wrap it up. What's your plans for the future? Like, do you have any sort of goals? Obviously, you've got obviously working on the
A lot of
Motorsport
goals.
Hub. You mentioned that you wouldn't mind getting into iRacing and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah. Um. So let me break it down real quick. So let's say for Motorsport Hub, my goal is to get as big as possible and try to help. Try to help out some drivers in there. Try to find competitions, and basically, I want to feel like I'm helping them. That is my
mm,
number one goal, is to satisfy what they what they're looking for and what businesses are trying to promote for free. You know, I nothing I want is for pretty much for me. I just want everything for them. So that's why I put business owners, league owners, the drivers up top of the motorsport bracket. And then you have us
yeah,
pretty much at the bottom, moderators and me, and we're all having fun. And I'd see another goal for racing. Like I said, iRacing, I want to get into that a lot. I want to maybe even, I was looking up some stuff in real life, maybe even get a racing license. That might be a thing, but that's going to be a
yeah,
ton. That's going to be years. But that's still a goal of mine. And for drifting, um, get better at FM7, become complete garbage, and get my 240 out of my garage because I'm tired of looking at it being there.
yeah,
My main goal is
yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing a finish 240. That'd be, I reckon, pretty sick.
that's going to be sick. I'm hoping it is.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lot of money. A lot of
Yes, it
money.
is. Man. Too much.
uh, all right. Thanks for coming on. Where can people find you on your socials?
um, Unix IRL, Unix underscore IRL, and that's it because I'm too lazy to make anything else. I have a Twitter, but I never use it. I have a YouTube, I never use it. So just there. Oh wait, actually, Mixer, yes, Mixer, Unix 5890. If you want to see me stream races there and drifting and Minecraft and whatever the crap, you can go there and check it out. Also, just want to say a huge thanks to Glassby Gaming for bringing me out. It's amazing that they grabbed my mini idea and they're turning it into reality. It's mind blowing. It's insane. And I'm just hoping this podcast grows to be the number one podcast on Forza.